Okay, today is day 2, but technically like day 4 at this point, of Leetcode 75. We're doing 238 product of array except self. So given an integer array nums, we have to return an array answer such that answer of I is equal to the product of all elements of nums except for the element at that index. The product of any prefix or suffix of nums is guaranteed to fit in a 32-bit integer. So that's just 2 to the 33, like that's our max integer value. And we have to write an algorithm that runs in O of n time without using division, because with division, what we can essentially do is, I believe that what can we do with division actually? I'm assuming that we can sum. Oh, okay. So I'm assuming that we could probably like multiply all these out, which gives us 24, and we can divide it by each value. And so yeah, we're not allowed to do something like that. Yeah, because if we do, this would be 9, and then we try to do 9 divided by 1 divided by 9 or something like that. Or yeah, but I think that's besides the point. Okay, so the solution for this essentially is that what we have to realize is so let's take position index 1 in example 1, for example. So we realize is that the output should be 12 because 1 times 3 times 4 is 12. So what we can do is we can take all the values to the left of this index and all the values to the right of that index, and then we can essentially just multiply them together, and then we would be able to get that value inside of that index, which is the product of all elements of nums except for that index. So the way that we can kind of recreate this is by using something called like a prefix sum. In this case, we have a prefix and a postfix, and we're doing multiplication instead. So what we'll do is that we're going to be calculating for every single index, like all of the values to the left of that index, what their sum is, what their product is. And then we could do the same thing for the postfix. So we take everything to the right of that element. And then what we can do afterwards is we can combine these two by multiplying at each index, multiplying the postfix element, and then multiplying it with the prefix. So we can go ahead and craft a solution. So we have a prefix, postfix, and we have the answer, which are all just like empty arrays. This would be, so we can take n, which is the length of the nums, and then we can have 0 times n. So they're all filled with 0 initially, and then there's 10 of these elements, and then the answer is also going to have 0 times n. So in order to calculate the prefix, what we can do is we have to set the first element to be equal to 1, so that when we do the multiplication, we don't just end up resulting in a bunch of zeros, since they're all initially set to 0. So we can say that for I in range length of n, we can start from 1 actually, and then we can say that prefix of I is going to be equal to prefix of I minus 1 times equals prefix of I, right? Or actually, Prefix of I, oh, actually, like nums of I minus 1 is equal to nums times nums of I, right? So let's say that we hit 2, so 0, 1, so that we hit well, wait, so prefix of 0, prefix of I minus 1, okay, well, like, let's say if we had 3, so we want it to be the prefix of I times I minus 1, I believe. How would that turn out? So that should be right? Yeah, because we have, so at position 1, it's only 1. Then you have 2 times, or sorry, here you have 1. Then for 3 you have 2. And then for 4 you should have 6. That's correct. Now we can do the postfix. We'll take the n minus 1 equal to 1. Then we'll take the reverse, because we're trying to go backwards and we're trying to go to range of n minus 1, 0, -1, or I think we can just do this as well. Reversed range n minus 1. Maybe we have to go to 0, -1. And then we could take postfix of I is equal to the postfix of I minus 1, or I plus 1, times nums of n plus 1, or I plus 1. Let's see how that looks like now. So that should be, well, it's not totally correct, because 4 should be 1, 3 should be 4, 2 should be 12, actually. I think it's because I don't know how this reversed probably looks like. One zero. 3 2 1 0. 3 2 1. Should be 3 2 1, yeah. That is correct, yeah. So yeah, because we want everything to the right of it, so then that'd be 12, 24. Okay, that took me a little too long. Okay, so that's our prefix, that's our postfix. Now, finally, we can go through the range of the n, and then we can say that answer of I can be equal to prefix I times postfix of I, and then we can return the answer. There we go. And that is the solution. And there's another way to do this as well, where you can actually just use, I think, one array, but I think just for this is already a very long video, so yeah, sorry that took so long. Yeah, and thanks for watching.